Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We don't do the news. I recommend John Haller for the news. I do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology. So I'm more like a magazine than a news report. We do what you need to know, your reality, our existence. We do solving a little bit of revelation each week. We're working on Revelation 12, the birth, but the patterns of the birth. I want to show you the patterns and see if you agree with me. If you disagree, tell me. If you agree, tell me. So I was working on another video last night, and I bumped into this couple that I bump into when I walk around the lake, and I said I'm going to give up on it because it wasn't appropriate. It was about Mike Bickle, and I didn't want to do that on Christmas Eve. By the way, Merry Christmas. So, and Happy Hanukkah. So they said, "We'll pray for you," and because I said I need another idea, and birth is the right one. We want to discuss Yeshua's birth. Now, keep in mind, in Christian terms, the birth is huge. The death day, not as much. The resurrection is huge, obviously, with Easter and things like that. Within Messianic faiths, we don't celebrate the birthday as much. It just isn't that big of a deal. What we celebrate is the death day because that is a recording of your life. And when you are having your life review at a time after you die, you'll be remembering through your life rather than just your birth. So that's why we're a little bit different, but yet, it's nice to celebrate the birthday. We would tend to go with Sukkot being the time frame, and then the eighth day he would be circumcised. But who knows? I mean, there are lots of theories out there. So we want to look at the patterns of the birth pangs that are listed in the Bible, and then dig into Revelation 12 and see if it all works out. So let's work on it. So how I have the right to discuss the birth pangs and birth and things like that is that Yeshua did state it in Matthew 24, 4 through 8. So there, and keep in mind, there is blood shed during birth. And Mary in Luke 2 had to bring an offering for the fact that she had a chata type of an offering. It meant that there was a remission of blood, and so she had to bring an offering, and she was poor. So there is blood. There is blood well, you can see the blood right there, with the little cute little baby. Love babies. So anyway, the main thing is Yeshua replied, "Watch out. Don't let anyone fool you, for many will come in my name saying, 'I am the Messiah,' and they will lead many astray." And we're seeing that, and that's why I'm doing this video instead today. You will hear the noise of wars nearby and the news of wars far off. See to it that you don't become frightened. Such things must happen, but the end is not yet to come, for peoples will fight each other. So that's ethnic groups will fight, then nations, basileia, will fight each other, and there will be famines, that's limo, and yes, we're seeing that, and earthquakes, that's seismos, in various parts of the world. All this is but the beginning of the birth pangs, so to speak. So Yeshua states it. We have the right to talk about it. It's about birth. There are patterns there. Let's look at the patterns and see if this makes any sense, prophetically speaking, because Revelation 12 is one of the most difficult chapters in the Bible, and I'm not qualified to observe it. So we try not to twist the Bible. We try to give you real prophecy. We try to interpret the news. Not as much news in this. Well, there's some news, yeah. So we do the philosophy of the end of days. Thank you for joining us. Why didn't God just kill the Pharaoh off? Why didn't he kill Herod off? When Herod was starting to kill the babies and Pharaoh was killing the babies. So basically what we're comparing and contrasting, doing pattern matching on, is Moses' birth. Okay? You look at his birth, and what you remember most is that Pharaoh wanted to kill off the babies because there was a Messiah being born. Now, it wasn't the Messiah Yeshua, but it was a Messiah, Moses. And he was drawn out of the water. Moshe means that. And so let's look at the patterns there. You have the Exodus coming up. You have a redemption coming up. You have, let's see here, you have slavery involved. Oh boy, yeah. And keep in mind, there is slavery with Yeshua, but he's a good master. So yes, the doulos word is used consistently throughout the New Testament to describe slavery as we are slaves to Yeshua. He's a good leader. He's a good Messiah. So within Yeshua's lifetime, he was in Bethlehem being birthed, and then the wise men came back and wanted to tell and didn't tell, unfortunately, Herod about this. And so Herod went out and just started slaughtering babies. So we see the baby slaughtered. We see deaths in Revelation. So it should match through. The patterns match. Once again, there's an exodus, and there will be another exodus in Revelation 12. There's a second exodus, and then there will also be redemption. There will be slavery in some ways. And so just be aware the patterns seem to match, okay? The birth patterns. So let's go through and look at Matthew 2 and see what we're looking for the pattern pieces to match. After Yeshua was born in Bethlehem in the land of Yehuda, during the time when Herod was king, the Magi from the east came to Jerusalem. I would say they came from Susa or near Babylon. That is where all the brilliant people were. Okay, they didn't all come back to Jerusalem. Only probably 5–10% came back. So the Magi came from the east to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the newborn king of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east." That seems to be Balaam's prophecy from Numbers 22 or 24 rather. And so that's an odd one, people, to have Balaam, an evil, wicked prophet, give an accurate prophecy about the star in the east and have come to worship him. When King Herod heard of this, he became agitated, very agitated, and so did everyone else in Jerusalem. He called together all the head Kohanim, okay, and so these are the Cohens. They are Levitical priests, but they're the head Kohanim, and the Torah teachers of the people, and asked them, "Where will the Messiah be born?" "In Bethlehem of Yehuda," they replied, because the prophet wrote, "And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Yehuda, are by no means the least among the rulers of Yehuda, for from you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Okay, sounds wonderful. Matthew 2, 1 through 6. Continuing on, 13 through 17. After they had gone, the angel of Adonai appeared to Joseph in a dream. And I'm skipping here because I'm not going to cover all of 2. But I want you to see the Egypt connection so we can see the data points matching up between Moses in Egypt and slavery in part in Egypt, and then escaping back from Egypt and the redemption of getting out of Egypt. So let's look at it. After he had gone, an angel of Adonai appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and escape to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you to leave. For Herod is going to look for the child in order to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother, and left during the night for Egypt, where he stayed until Herod died. And there is this deal with pharaohs and leaders. When they die, there is a redemption time frame after that. And so Yeshua died, and there is a redemption right after that. So this happened in order to fulfill what Adonai had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I called my son." Okay, works. Meanwhile, when Herod realized that the Magi had tricked him, he was furious and gave orders to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years of old or less. Calculating from the time the Magi had told him, in this way were fulfilled the words spoken through the prophet Jeremiah, and we'll get to that in the next slide. But basically, it's going to be Rachel crying. So the bottom line is we see the data points are matching up. The Egypt, the child, the birth, the redemption, all of these things play through all the way from Moses to Yeshua to Revelation 12. So let's continue on and finish out on Matthew 2, 18 through 23. A voice was heard in Ramah, sobbing and lamenting loudly. It was Rachel, sobbing for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no longer alive. That could match up with the Holocaust too, but that definitely matches up with Moses, although it was, well, it wasn't prophesied until Yeshua's time frame. And so that's when it seems to be fulfilled perfectly. But the main thing is, okay, so what I'm getting at is these data points are matching up. Somebody's born, Messiah-like, a bunch of people die, babies, okay, and there are abortions today, and then there is a redemption involved. So after Herod's death, the angel of Adonai appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to Eretz Israel, and those who wanted to kill the child are dead." So he got up, took the child and his mother, went back to Eretz Israel. However, when he heard that Archelaus had succeeded his father Herod as king of Yehuda, he was afraid to go there. Warned in a dream, he withdrew to the Galilean area and settled down in a town with a, and now it's not a Nezer, it's a Nazareth, it's a Zadi, and so it's a different sound. So you can't say that he took the Nazarene vow. It's a different spelling, different process. So that what was called and spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled, that he would be called a Nazrati. He would be called from the Netzer area. Okay, and there's a branch aspect to that too. He's called the branch in Isaiah 11. So it all works. Okay. Now let's jump into Revelation 12. We're not going to spend forever in here, but I want you to see the typologies going on in terms of the birth, the persecution. It doesn't overtly state the deaths, but yet there's something going on here. The redemption comes after this. So Revelation 12, 1 through 3. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. That happens every fall around Rosh Hashanah, okay? Every single year. 2017 was supposed to be the rapture year. Well, it wasn't. It happens every year. There's an interesting sign every single year. And expect one in 2024, So anyway, she was pregnant and was crying out in birth pangs and the agony of giving birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, that's Satan, with 7 heads rather, and 10 horns. On his heads 7 diadems. Okay, interesting. Now, if we'll move forward to 12:13, then the dragon saw that he was thrown down to the earth, and he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. So not only do we have a Pharaoh-like situation going on here, or a Herod-like, Satan is involved in this, and he's cast down during this time frame. So in some future year, you're going to see a sign in the sky and realize, oh no, Satan's being cast out. And it's going to be so dreadfully awful when he's cast out. You think the Antichrist is bad? No, you haven't seen anything until you see Satan angry. He's going to rage. And it looks like if you move to the upper right-hand side, then the dragon was angry with the woman, which seems to be a typology of Israel. It isn't Yeshua. It isn't. And he went to wage war with the remnant of her offspring who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach. So that's Revelation 12:17. So there's a process that happens during Revelation 12, and there's a birthing process of some man-child, and we'll see some other situations where the man-child is listed. I, unfortunately, have met 2 women in about 2006 and 2007 and 2008 and 9. And they were 2 women that really wanted to believe in Yeshua and thought they were on fire for the Lord, but they truly believed that they were going to birth the man-child, both of them. So who knows? Who knows? I just wanted to bring that up. So the bottom line is the typology passes through the whole way through. The data points match. Not exactly, because it's more a rhythmic type of a thing. It's not, exactly the same words, exactly the same situations. It's just similar, okay? But I want you to be able to see that with Revelation 12. I am thinking that it is based on Israel being birthed on May 14th of 1948, because it doesn't match up with Yeshua. These things, it doesn't sound like it. And this is more of a forward situation. So at some point in time, we'll see these activities occurring. And if Satan can't attack the woman and her child, he's going to come after us, the believers. Okay? So who's the woman? I would say Israel. Who's the baby? The new version of Israel. When? Some future date. Okay, so is this the answer? Well, this is Isaiah 66. Does it answer Revelation 12? Let's try. Before going into labor, she gave birth. Before her pains came, she delivered a male child. That's that man-child thing. It's also Psalm 2, too. Who ever heard of such a thing? Who has ever seen such things? Is a country born in one day? Is that Israel, May 14th, 1948? Is a nation brought forth all at once? For as soon as Zion went into labor, she brought forth her children. Would I let the baby break through and not be born? Says Adonai, would I cause the birth and shut the womb? Asks your God. Rejoice with Jerusalem. Be glad with her, all you who love her. Revelation 66, 7 through 10. Just the first part of it. Is that Israel? I have brilliant friends that write for First Fruits of Zion that say, no, that's not the prophecy. I think it's the prophecy, okay? And it is problematic because Isaiah 66 does talk about eating pigs and things like that. And so that's one of the reasons why we're messianics. So it's questionable, but it does seem to be the case. But the patterns match, okay? Which means that it sounds like it's Israel is that birth in the end times here, and that we're in that point. Now, we are at exactly 76 years when we get to 2024 here. Later, the typical age of death, the average in Israel right now is 74.55 years. Okay, so we're actually past that, but we're within that tolerance of 70 and 80 years, which is found in Peter, and it's also found in Psalm 90. So we're in that tolerance of 70 and 80 years. We're in that range. Okay, so Micah also describes this, and Micah does a better job of making it sound like this is Israel. This is end times Israel, because it starts out in Micah 4, but in the Acharith Yamim, it will come about that the mountain of Adonai's house, and then it drifts in some other things. That's 4:1. Then it goes to 10:12 because I wanted to shift to that, because we talk about labor, we talk about being in pain, work to give birth like a woman in labor, daughter of Zion. For now you will go out of the city and live in the fields till you reach Babylon. There you will be rescued. There Adonai will redeem you from the power of your enemies. How many nations, and I'm arguing this is Gog, have gathered against you? They say, let her be defiled. Let's gloat over Zion. But they don't know the thoughts and plans of Adonai. They don't understand his plan at all. For he has gathered them like sheaves on the threshing floor. So God is going to convince these nations to come against Israel in the end of days, and he's going to wipe them out. So continuing on to chapter 5, therefore he will give up Israel, and that is David Stern saying that, only until she who is in labor gives birth, then the rest of his kinsmen will return to the people of Israel. So basically, there's going to be a regathering. And that's why we need to shift into the next slide, which shows the horrible things going on in Israel right now, and why it's nationwide. I mean, it's worldwide too, but we'll start in Bethlehem and show why it's safer for a Jew to live in Israel right now than it is in Europe, especially, but also America. So Jerusalem, Bethlehem. This is the birthplace of Yeshua. Tourism reels from Israel-Hamas war during the busy period for pilgrimages. And then you've got the J-Post, so Reuters on both sides, but the J-Post republished it. No Christmas tree in Bethlehem as holiday pared down over Gaza war. We have never seen Bethlehem like this, not even during the time of COVID. The town is empty. Sad. And that's December 2nd of 2023. So there's no money coming in from tourism. And there is another birth, and you can see it down below. I'm citing that horrible movie, Rosemary's Baby, where she supposedly birthed the Antichrist, and he was hideously gross and things like that. Trust me, if the Antichrist shows up, he's going to be beautiful. Satan is beautiful too. Don't think that Satan is ugly. He's beautiful, gorgeous. And so you should be looking for a bright one. Satan will be very, very bright when he shows up, and the Antichrist will have a brilliance, the brightness about him, just not quite like Satan or anything like that. So basically, Jerusalem is not getting the tourism. Bethlehem is not getting the tourism. Part of the problem is you have useful idiots serving their purposes. And so the ELCA Lutherans, and yes, I did sing in an ELCA church for years, and I sent my kids to ELCA schools. That's all you pretty much have up here in Minnesota. And there are many godly people that still attend the ELCA, but come out of Babylon, come out of Laodicea, okay? I left there in 2010. I won't explain why now. So anyway, I'm sorry, I was being a little selfish brat. I sing well, and I loved singing in this big church. I really enjoyed it. Pipe organs, orchestras, everything like that, but I had to leave. Once they said we're going to allow pastors to pretty much say anything, I had to walk out. So the ELCA is entrenched in this Bethlehem area, and they're bringing curses. And you can see Genesis 12:3 on the lower left-hand side. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse anyone who curses you. And the ELCA is constantly cursing with abortion and with what they're doing in Bethlehem and other places. So Christ at the Checkpoint, which is primarily ELCA, is primarily a public relations scheme to dissuade American evangelicals from pro-Israel views. It's sickening. And so that's the problem with these mainline denominations. You wonder why they're falling apart. So anyway, then we'll move out from Jerusalem and Israel, and we'll look at what's going on worldwide and a nationwide unprecedented surge in anti-Arab, anti-Muslim bias incidents reported in the U.S. since Israel-Hamas war. Advocacy group says, well, this is CBS News, and they're lying. They're gaslighting us. It's the exact opposite. The surge is the other way around. So CBS is always lying. Horrible news. And I used to trust them 50, 60 years ago, but I don't anymore. On the other side, Fox News is gaslighting us and saying these are the unsafe cities during the holiday season. Research shows no, it's more than this. San Francisco is always unsafe. Washington, D.C. is always unsafe. New York City is unsafe. These happen to be a few other cities. Unsafe cities, sure, right. There is a birthing occurring on the other side right now. It's Rosemary's Baby in terms of evil is being birthed, and the liars are lying. So they're lying and lying, and they're gaslighting us. So basically what I'm getting at here is this is another situation where Hamas is shooting their own people in Gaza. So this is a report from today, and you know who's driving this. There are elites, and then there are the uber elites, and Klaus Schwab is one of those. Waiter, there's a fly in my soup. And Klaus Schwab looks at the guy and says, I know. And because he wants us to eat flies and other insects. So basically, this is a Muslim fellow, an Arab fellow, that's talking about how these helpless people in Gaza are being fired upon, being shot by Hamas. And there's going to be more riots because they can't get food into those people because Hamas, they're evil. They're just flat out evil. Okay. Then this is from 2012, A Rough Guide to Hell. It shows Hamas flying in the sky towards Israel and launching bombs and things like that. So we know that Satan is going to fall on the earth at some point in time. We know that evil will increase. There should be more agitation prior to Messiah's arrival. You have to fight. You have to suck it up every day. Get up and fight amongst the gaslighting, amongst the lies, amongst the uber elites that hate our guts, amongst the fact that it looks like it's going to be bleak at times, but you have to fight back. And keep in mind, with all of the prophecies that I went through today, they were cryptic the first time, they'll be cryptic the second time. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, social media never killed anybody, so if you want evidence the world is a terrible place, spend your time reading everything on social media. I love Twitter right now. You're able to say something. I'm able to contact friends and family and other people like that and really get information fast now because I can find the great people. They were blocked before. So I would argue the exact opposite. They're gaslighting us right now. The social media is allowing people to speak. It's a First Amendment issue. So this is the world ahead in 2024, The Economist again, and they're showing Putin vying against Zelensky, and time is wearing out on that, and Zelensky is losing. There are weapons involved, there are space shuttles involved, there's Mars involved, there are eclipses involved, there are elections, there is basically the mark of the beast involved in this, and the image of the beast on the left-hand side middle, and then on the right-hand side, the economies are going to tank at some point in time. Then you've got down below, you've got Biden versus Xi, and Xi wants to go in and attack Taiwan, and he's stating it boldly now. There is a birthing of evil occurring right now, but there will be this Revelation 12 birthing. Okay, so just keep it in mind. And so, once again, The Economist and the world leaders, the elites of the elites, are broadcasting what they're going to do to us. That's the world ahead in 2024. Keep in mind, the eclipses are going to be big, and the rapture people are going to be screaming like crazy. And I'm not a pre-trib rapture guy. I'm telling you, you're at least 9 years out. Sorry, 9 years. Okay, so why not burn the tares now? Once again, why, God, do you allow Pharaoh to kill the Jewish babies? Why do you allow Herod to kill the Jewish babies? That's just the way it works, guys. These are the rules. This is the way God set it up, okay? So this is the parable of the wheat and the tares. Wheat bows over, tares stand tall. Keep that in mind, okay? And you'll see that as we move forward. The ego will be bigger on the leaders, and they'll build bunkers, and they won't care about us. Trust me, okay? So this is Matthew 13, 27 through 30. The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where have the weeds come from? And he asked. An enemy has done this. The servants asked him, Then do you want us to go and pull them up? He said, No, because if you pull up the weeds, you might uproot some of the wheat at the same time. Let them both grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time, that's the end of days, I will tell the reapers to collect the weeds first and tie them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. That's what's happening. That's why you're with good people, like on both sides here, the people that keep Christmas, loving, caring, wonderful families, the people that keep Hanukkah, wonderful, loving, caring families. But the birth pangs will increase, and so evil will increase. You're stuck with the tares until the end. And as I've stated throughout, the patterns are there. The Messiah's return will come at a human cost. Revelation 12 will occur. You will have the same typology of Exodus with Moses and of Yeshua's birth from Matthew, say. And so get ready for it. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. We're in the birth pangs. Probably in seal 4. It's starting to look like it. I have no proof of that, but we're in the birth pangs, and it seems like seal 4. We're not in the great tribulation or the tribulation. That will come at some point in time. I'm telling you, it can't possibly occur until we get into at least 2025 or later. So you'll have to prepare for the birth, and that will come later. But you've seen the typology now from Micah and from Isaiah and from Revelation 12. You know the signs of what's going to occur. There will be a redemption coming. You just have to get through. So that's what we're on to. You work on your garments, your clean garments. Make sure you're not naked. It's a wedding coming up. Get to the wedding, okay? So be blessed. Thank you very much for your time. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Bye-bye.